All right, everybody, I am back again. Look, I told you guys a long time ago this season I'm just going to pack this show with people that I think are cool, people that I think that are interesting, people that I think are funny, people that I think that you're going to love, and I haven't missed yet, and the streak continues. Introduce yourself, my friend.
Well, hello everybody. I am JD Blut. I am a guitarist, streamer, YouTuber, former podcast host, and none of the things as mentioned at all whatsoever. So good luck to you this hour.
All I'm saying is what I'm trying to figure out, damn it, is see, JD and I have been following each other on social media for a long period of time. And one of the things I like about him is, you see, I tend to like people that have matched my level of weirdness. And and since you've
That is
done
a
that,
fair assessment.
and since you've done that, here we are. Now, I gotta ask you this because this is always fascinating to me. I'll get into the podcasting thing a little bit later on because you had several incarnations of podcasting, and we all do. You know, I've got two now because there's certain things you want to put on one and certain things you want to put on another. But as weird as it is, I didn't know that you played the guitar like that.
Yeah. So for pretty much the almost the entirety of you and I knowing each other, I, in all honesty, didn't even own a guitar. But the fact of the matter is, I have been playing guitar on and unfortunately more so off since I was 13. And for those of you who want to put that in real numbers, that's about 28 years. And for the longest time, I had given up and completely just ignored it, didn't even own one for the better part of a decade. And then I just really started falling in love with it again. So I got me a cheapo beater guitar, and it's been grow. The love has been growing. The skill has been growing ever since. We're about a year and change into that.
It's really weird when you have a thing that you know you should be doing. You know what I mean? And it's just sitting there in the background, torturing you in the back of your head. I'm sure you probably saw people playing guitar, you saw guitars, you heard guitars because you love rock music, and there was something in your head going, pick it up, come on, pick it up.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. But life got in the way back when
Hmm.
I was a little bit younger, and I had a kid, but unfortunately, at the time I had, like when I first had my daughter, I was sort of towing the poverty line.
Hmm.
So luxuries like guitar and hobbies and stuff kind of had to go by the wayside for food. So
Oh
that was sort
God.
of my last giving up of the guitar, and then that was 12 years ago. Now, she's my daughter's old. That was 12 years ago. So obviously, I've made the right choices and I've made improvements to my life, and I've been able to, now I can have hobbies, which is where the podcasting came from initially. And I was like, you know what, you're right. Like the guitar was calling to me. I started watching guitar YouTubers, and I'm like, man, I'm not as good as them, but I could probably do that too, and I miss it. So I pick it up and go.
Yeah, because I see that because I watch. Obviously, we follow each other on Twitter, and I see you
Yeah,
shredding on a regular basis.
yeah.
You know.
Well, that is actually, speaking of guitar YouTubers. That is actually a, I don't want to say a contest because you don't win anything, but look, for lack of a better word, it's a contest put out by probably my favorite guitar YouTuber, Ola Englund.
Mhm.
He basically creates the drum track that you hear me playing over, and he creates one drum track a week, or he has like his editor create the drum track, whatever, but he approves it, and he's like, here, make music over it. So that's been going on for 51 weeks now, and they're all about a minute. So the reality is, I have 35 minutes of new music that I've created outside of other projects that I've created. So that's really cool, and it's nice that it's easily digestible. You don't have to go on watch a 10-minute video. You don't have to come. Like you can just go on. I can almost put the whole damn video right on Twitter,
Mhm.
and that's your dose of me. And that's been growing and growing and growing, and that's sort of the staple of my channel because what, when you're doing guitar reviews or gear reviews and you no longer have any gear to review and you're too small to reach out to brands, you kind of have to think of something else to do.
That's the really funny thing is as it grows, then all of a sudden you start getting these email. We have this Stratocaster we want you to try out.
Oh yeah.
We have this six string we want you to try out. We have these guitar picks we want you to talk about. you know.
We're not quite there yet. So
Mhm.
basically, I ran out of my own gear, and I'm like, I can't review anything else. I literally don't own anything else to review. So now it's just sort of trying to grow the channel, grow the. I hate to say the brand, but literally grow the JD Blut brand, as it were, to get more eyes on what I do. Because my reviews, like the little shred bits that you see, I get, pretty decently. I'm pretty happy with it. For a guy you've never heard of, I get, 50 to 70 views per one of those videos.
Mhm.
For a guy you've never heard of and for a guy who's not as good as anybody else on YouTube, I'll take it. But my gear reviews, I'm in the thousands of views on those gear reviews. So people like the way I approach that. It's just I'm not big enough to say, hey, companies, I will happily review your stuff in my style. So it's just basically growing, getting bigger, hoping for the best, and trying not to make stupid mistakes.
You better start reviewing some damn sandwiches.
Man, I just had a hell of a sandwich actually from my local bakery. They put some Cajun chicken in there. I don't know what mayonnaise they used, but it was just the right amount.
We're not going to see you fighting with somebody outside of a Popeye's chicken, are we?
No. Actually, I'm not a big Popeyes fan. I prefer Mary Brown's.
Mhm.
And also, the gold standard KFC. I'm a KFC guy, but the one in my city is not very. And I live in a very small city. That's why I say the one KFC in my city is literally the one, and it's not that good. So I don't go there that often.
As soon as you said one KFC, you automatically know it's a small city.
Yeah, exactly.
In my hometown down in Philadelphia, I've seen 5 or 6 KFCs in one drive. you know,
Oh, I believe it. I'm just outside of Toronto. It's not like 3 million people, but nobody knows the name of the city. But we had the same thing. It's a big metropolis. Then you go to Toronto, where I lived for a number of years. You trip over fast food joints, right? And you see them come up and you see them come down. But in my city, it's really nice. We have one of everything. I live in what's considered cottage country. I live pretty much right on a lake, which is pretty sweet. Summers, Canadian summer, all 4 weeks of it are really great. I spend my time kayaking.
As soon as you said Canadian summer, I'm going, you can hold your breath for that, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, we have a guy who rents out well, okay, this is pre-pandemia. He rented out kayaks, $9 an hour to go kayaking. And, he's like, I have to legally do this when the water temperature is above a certain amount or else y'all could freeze. And I'm like, the water's 3 feet deep. It's a man-made lake. What are you doing? I'm not going to freeze.
Yeah. I'll do this thing called walking.
Yeah.
Oh, no, exactly, my knees are wet.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm just that right height where the lower end of the manhood gets in there, and you start to get that real cold shiver down your spine.
Oh yeah, you're talking to a guy who's you're talking to a 5'8" guy yourself right now, pal. So
yeah.
I'm not exactly dunking on people.
Yeah. My pro wrestling site lists me as 6 feet, but I'm actually 5'11". So yeah, I'm right there with you.
I knew it. See, I knew I was going to get the deadly secrets. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our expose. JD Blut is not 6 feet, and we have exposed him.
No. Oh, shit. Oh, no.
That's right. Get that guy from the Catch a Predator in here because he can't chase predators anymore, but we can chase fake 6 feet dudes. Get him.
Exactly. Well, and if any of the guitar community is listening, no, I do not speed up my videos. This is a big thing in the guitar community of people actually fast forwarding their playing to make it look like they're shredding even harder.
Oh, God.
No, I don't. I make my mistakes in the exact amount of time that you see them.
So we got a bunch of.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Got a bunch of Eddie Van Halen wannabes out there, right?
Well, to be fair, they're all really good technical players. It's just there's been instances where if the camera can't capture, or if the video can't properly display your fingers doing the deed,
Mhm.
there's some funny stuff going on. That's my opinion. But no, I don't fake those videos. Um, but I do fake my height. Absolutely.
And that explains the haircut. That's how you get to 6 feet. You're not fooling me, buddy.
You know, it's funny. The mohawk is actually drooped, and my live stream audience didn't even call me out. I was expecting rip mohawk. Where's the mohawk? Nothing. I went live on a Monday, and nothing. Nobody said a damn word. And I'm like, is my image just not? You just literally, dude, make the guitar make noise. That's all you're here for, right? I felt so disheartened.
You do realize that it's going to happen now.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I called my chat out on it. But at the other token too is I was on a newer platform, so my regular folks from Twitch weren't exactly all there. So I'm not 100% sure who remembers me and who doesn't. If that's, it's, you know, juggling two platforms is a little bit difficult. It's like juggling two podcasts. You have to be twice as smooth, and for me, I have to be twice as on point.
I know what you mean, because I got two.
And that's why I'm saying I know.
And it's really weird because they're two completely separate audiences. What the hell is that? it's like they're like two completely separate. Because I was wondering about that, because you're on Twitch, and what's the other one? Volume, correct?
Volume, yes, that's correct.
Okay, so, and you're thinking you watch you play all the time on Twitch. You go over to Volume. You're already doing something they've already proven that they already like, and they're like, nah, yep, that's cool.
Well, see, what happens is they just didn't want to make the jump. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to, register an account on this new platform, this new untested platform, mm-hmm, as it were. And I'm like, look, I'm just here trying it out. I'm just here because on Twitch, when you're streaming, you have the ability to have chat interact with so many different things. Like, I have a song request bot, and I have a games bot, and I have channel points, and I have this, and I have that, and I can't even keep track of it. But mm-hmm, on Volume, it's very stripped down. If you want to make a song request, you don't type into a bot. You literally, all I ask is that you capitalize band name dash song name. That's it. That's all there is, because it's bare bones. And for me, I actually really enjoyed that. The flip side of it is I miss all the other interaction. Like, mm-hmm, I have channel points where people can tell me to stretch, so I'll get up and do some terrible yoga in front of the camera or whatever. I have hydrate. I have one where I'm required to sing for 5 minutes. Not necessarily the song I'm playing, but I have to speak in song. So that's what I appreciate about Twitch, is that they have this interactivity built in. But what I appreciate about Volume is that it's stripped away, and I can just play music. So it's really this cross section of, I don't necessarily want to do both, but at the same time, I want to do both. But what happens is you get different fans. Like on Twitch, I have fans who are, I'm going to say, an older demographic, not necessarily as old as me. Because, well, it's just not true. But, folks in their 20s, 30s. Volume, the average age of my viewer is somewhere in the neighborhood of 16. So you really are addressing two different audiences with two different musical experience levels. So on Twitch, I'll play stuff from bands that I have literally never heard of, and I do something called sight reading through Rocksmith. I don't necessarily have to know the song. As long as somebody has created a Rocksmith chart for it, mm-hmm, I can attempt to play it. Same goes on Volume. I do that same sort of thing. But on Twitch, I get a whole bunch of songs I've never heard of. On Volume, my last show there, I was playing AC/DC all night, basically, because this one guy kept requesting it. I'm like, I can do that in my sleep, no problem, thank you. So it really is, like you said, two different audiences, and it's weird to me.
That's the thing that I noticed, because on the original podcast, the audience is literally, like, if you look at the demographic breakdown and all that, it's almost like an even spread all the way across the ages. It's 51% male, 49% female. But on the podcast here, this one, a entire third of the audience is in the 20s. It's like,
I think
oh, mm-hmm,
I think the younger aged folks are more in tune with interviews, because you and I grew up in a time period. I'm lumping us generally together because I think there's only about 8 years between us, so we're
I'm
basically the
52.
same.
I'm
Oh, I
52.
lied. Okay, 12 years, fair enough. So okay, so but even still, we're in that same sort of period where guys and girls who were coming up in your age musically were sort of still there and still finding themselves in my age when I was coming up. Now that's not necessarily the case. Like, there's gaps and gaps, and what I mean to say is, um, there's also different listening patterns. Like, podcasts have exploded, so the spoken word, the spoken medium, has far outshined music consumption. I'm not speaking statistically or anything, but the podcast explosion that happened right back when Potter and Family became a thing, I forget when that was, 2012 or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Was absolutely massive. And there's so many marketing dollars being put into podcasts. So people nowadays are conditioned that interviews are the way to go. And music, I hear more and more, music is just a soundtrack. It's what I have on in the background. I don't get emotionally attached to it. Whereas folks our age, we didn't necessarily have, like, we had, talk shows and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, but it wasn't consistent. The radio was playing music or the news.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So I think it's a different demographic that cares more about interviews. So I can see that your listenership is split so decidedly.
I was completely shocked, and it's because I'm sitting there going, and I'm talking to you like I don't know, like I don't know who's listening to me right now. I know that you young guys and gals that are listening to me right now, first of all, I appreciate you. But the thing is, it was just really weird to me to have people the age of my nephews, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, it's like when I was the age of that third of my audience, the people that are listening to my audience right now, my nephews, I was giving them baths and changing their diapers.
Yeah.
you know, it's like a third of my audience. If they were in my family, there would be pictures of me walking around carrying them with a bottle in their mouth. you know, and I appreciate it because because like when you get, because I started to notice, like, say for people like in the music groove, Tony Bennett,
Yeah.
man, the man's 1,000 years old, but if you look at when he
Yes.
was singing and touring, look at his audience. A third to a half of the people that came to see him were college kids and recent college grads
Yeah.
that just discovered him,
Yeah. Yeah. But
and
when
they
you get a
loved it.
performer like that, yeah. Sorry to cut you off there.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a performer like that, there's no. I forget what the proper term is, but they defy. Sorry, generation.
Mm-hmm.
Every once in a while, there are a few people in any sort of entertainment that defy and displace generation. Tony Bennett absolutely would have been one.
You
Totally
know,
get that. I'm not the biggest fan of his work, but
mm-hmm.
totally respect what he's done, and my mom loves him. So.
that's the weird thing, because I get a kick out of when you hear like your aunts and your parents and they talking about, and that person was sexy, and I'm going, first of all, never describe anybody that way in front of me.
Yeah.
that's, the, that's the first thing, because I think and I apologize for vomiting on your floor when you said that, and right, you know, but it's really weird because when you get to the beginning, right, where you are now age wise, 40, and where I am now 52, that chunk, and I think it actually goes maybe up to maybe 60. You're now maybe 50. We're right in the same group. It's like you're at the you're old enough to have seen so much stuff, but still young enough to appreciate stuff that young people like. some of it anyway. Because I'll be honest with you, I turn on the radio sometimes. I'm going, man, now that new guy is great, and then the next song, ew.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's the same thing. When the younger folks ask me to play stuff, and I'm
Mhm.
like, I've never heard of this band, but you can just tell by their voice that it's a dude in their 20s. I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, some of it's really good, passionate, well played, and some of it, the man is just screaming into the mic. Like, I like black metal,
Mhm.
um, like, and I have trouble digesting some of the new stuff.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and the funny thing about it is, you know, because I was 'cause one of my friends is a musician in California, and I don't even know if I should admit to liking this now with some of the new things, but he was playing some stuff. I mean, he was playing this music, and I was like, I don't know who that is, but that person, I'm enjoying this music. It wasn't the music I would
Sure.
normally listen to because when it comes to rock music, I was more of a Aerosmith, Rolling Stones type dude, or the
Yeah, yeah.
guys from the
Yep.
'70s.
Hmm.
And he was playing this music, and I said, "Who the hell is this? I've never heard this before." And you've played 6 tracks. Now this is a while ago, and this is back when I lived in California in the '90s. I said, "You've played six
Okay.
tracks back to back on this damn album, and I've liked every one of them. Who is this?" And he goes, "You never heard of Marilyn Manson?"
Oh, damn.
And I go, no, obviously." And I
Wow.
was just like, and I'm sitting there going, and then I said, let me listen to some more of his stuff. And I was like, apparently, musically, like I said, I don't know what his personal thing is going on, so I don't know about all of that. But I'm just gonna stick with, I don't know,
Yeah.
mess with all of that because I don't know what the hell the deal is with that. But just the
Yeah.
music only. And I'm going,
Mhm.
and like 8 out of the 10 things that I heard every time I would listen to some of his stuff, I'm going, I like this too. I also like this, and I like this. Oh, apparently I like Marilyn Manson music. you know, I didn't know.
Here, there's a qualifier though. There's a qualifier because I'm pretty sure I know what album you're talking about just based on that. If you were to listen to stuff prior, his
Hmm.
stuff prior,
Hmm.
let's ignore the fact that what's going on in his personal life. Okay, that's if you
Hmm.
listen to his music prior to that album that you listened to,
Hmm.
you would have been complete. He went completely differently. He changed a couple band members and then put out that album that I'm almost certain you listened to. This would have been in '96 or '97 that you were listening to that album. It was
I can tell you the name.
oh
I
my,
remember it now.
it was Antichrist Superstar. Yeah.
And Mechanical Animals.
Oh yes, yeah. Mechanical Animals was '98. Yes,
Yeah.
those are fantastic albums. Like
You know,
really and truly fantastic albums. Yeah.
because I'm sitting there going,
It's funny that
Jesus Christ. you know?
It's funny that you mentioned the '70s a little bit earlier. Did your parents ever try and sway what you enjoyed about music or who you enjoyed, that sort of thing?
Everybody around me, they like Motown stuff and Marvin Gaye and all that kind of stuff. And who doesn't, right? but
Sure.
but there was not a lot of rock around, and I listened to that stuff. I like that stuff. But by the time the '80s came around, it was all Michael Jackson and Prince by then. you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
More,
But
and I'm more. I love Michael Jackson, but I'm a Prince dude. I mean, literally,
yes,
I turn
I
my head
know.
to the right. There's a box right there with every single Prince, everything.
Oh, amazing.
I
That's
have all of it.
amazing.
I mean, literally all of it. And no one really It was more, I don't know
No.
if it was the same way with you, but it was like I would be in the car and I'd be listening to whatever they were playing, and then I would go, okay. And as a child, you're going, okay, I like Earth, Wind, and Fire. I like that. I like that. Didn't hear a lot of rock at all until I'm literally
Sure.
till uh maybe like Howard Stern show.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, he played rock songs on that show, and that's when I started paying attention to Led Zeppelin. You know what I'm saying, and
Yeah. Yeah.
AC/DC,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Gotcha.
I'm like, look at all of this stuff that I never heard, and I'm liking all of this. What the hell?
Well, See, and I was sort of the same way. Like when we were in the car, my dad had control of the
Mm-hmm.
radio, so I got into, well, maybe not into, but I was exposed to the Stones and the Beach Boys. Um, I think Earth, Wind and Fire was in there. The Trogs.
Mm-hmm.
My dad oddly wasn't that much of a Beatles fan, but which is surprising for a white suburban dude. But he
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. And then when I started growing up and started getting a personality, my father said to me, he says, "You know what? I really hate Kiss and Alice Cooper." Well, guess what the first two albums I bought were? Like, it wasn't even that much of an act of rebellion. I just wanted to see what the fuss was about, and I was sort of hooked from there. And yeah, around the time, I definitely enjoyed Michael Jackson's singles. Like
Mm-hmm.
whatever was on our version of MTV was called Much Music. Whatever
Yeah.
was on there, sure, absolutely. I think I had the Black or White album, if I'm not mistaken,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought it solely because Slash, the lead guitarist in Guns N' Roses, guest stars on one of the songs there, and I was like, I want to hear this, and I'm like, holy shit, I like the whole album. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can cuss.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Hold on. Let me
Cool.
let me join you. Shit. Okay, we're good.
There we go. All right, cool. Yeah. So I was like, oh man, like you kind of make these accidental discoveries almost, right? No, I enjoyed Michael Jackson more so the singles. I'm not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
And then in terms of Prince, I got to say I was never really exposed to much of anything he did. Like I'd watched the videos, I definitely enjoyed, but I never had any influence, friends, family, or whatnot, who pointed me to Prince until I started reading guitar magazines. And this is the coolest quote I'll ever hear. Somebody interviewed Eric Clapton, who is a fantastic bluesman, great guitarist. Like everyone pretty much universally knows that, whether you appreciate his music or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the interviewer said, "Hey, what's it feel like to be the greatest guitarist in the world without missing a beat?" He goes, "You should probably ask Prince that. That dude shreds." I was like, "Oh man, I gotta check this out." And that was sort of my first introduction to know that somebody who, like, I didn't really think guitar was that big as part of Prince's presentation, but I was wrong.
Yeah,
Basically what I'm
it's
getting
kind
at
of
there.
it's kind of important.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I thought it was along the lines. Now, again, this is me being very young and very stupid. I thought it was along the lines of sort of the next iteration, or like a pseudo Michael Jackson sort of a thing. Is Michael Jackson was way more popular than Prince was here. So that was my impression at the time. Obviously, I'm educated now, but at the time, that's what it was. So.
It's just really weird how when you I grew up in the northeast corridor of the United States, which is Philadelphia, New York, Boston, places like that, and the speed that I'm talking right now, I literally had to train myself to slow down how fast I spoke to people, because people who are from the Northeast speak at such a high speed that if you go most other places, people go, "I have no idea what you just said." I really don't know what you just said. So it's the same thing with music. When you get to a situation where, whoever's around you, you just listen to the stuff that's around you, and then you become exposed. Like you discovered Prince because of the guitar magazines. I didn't even pay attention to rock and roll until I started hearing these songs, because Stern was on a rock station. And I'm sitting there going, and it's really weird because then as I heard the song, someone, I did hear this on one of those midnight special TV programs they have on. Sometimes they have live acts on, but it'll be playing it in the background. And so that was just a weird thing to see how things just kind of slid into your consciousness and just kind of sat there. Like earlier when we were talking about the guitar, you knew you should be playing the guitar, you knew it. Life got in the way, but it was just sitting there, hanging around, like a father in the '70s smoking a cigar while his wife's in the, and he having the baby. Is she had a kid yet? All right, I'll be right. Tell me when the kid's out of there, Jack.
Actually, this is my Father of the Year moment. Actually, when my daughter was born and they cleaned her off and all that good stuff that they wrap her,
Mhm.
she was many hours late. My ex was induced at 8 p.m. and
Mhm.
my daughter didn't arrive until 5:22 a.m. So
Ooh.
that was a
Ooh.
long time. So I'm sitting there trying to remain awake to be supportive. So the nurse brings my daughter over to me, first time ever. She goes, "Dad, do you want to hold her?" And I'm like, "No, thank you."
I might drop the kid. I'm half asleep here.
Yeah. First interaction with my daughter is no, thank you. I don't
Nah,
even
I'm
know if she
cool.
knows that.
Yeah, well, she's right here.
Like, hey,
Surprise, buddy.
oh
Now, I got
no.
to ask you this. I'm going to jump off music
Yeah,
for a second.
let's go for it.
And I'm curious because, a lot of times people will have, if you have, let me ask you this. When you were doing the other podcasts, you were not playing at
Yeah,
all the guitar, correct?
correct. Didn't even own
Okay.
one.
Okay. Now, I also know that on one of your tags on your bio, bedroom producer.
Okay. Well, so that's I hate to say it, but it's actually going to come back to music. That is a term for home recording amateur, as it were, amateur home recording person. Because literally, my studio where I'm sat right now, I don't even have to lean over from my chair and I can touch my bed. I literally do music production in my bedroom. If people want to take it that other way from my most previous podcast, they are more than welcome to. I'm sure the videos are still out there.
So explain to me what was that podcast, JD? What happened on that podcast?
What happened on that podcast? Okay,
Yeah.
so do you want the long story or just the fun part at the end?
Yes, both. Both, please.
Yes, both. Okay, sure. It actually started out as, oh my goodness, it went through two name changes and I forget. My Crumbling Audio. So back in the day, and this is way back, I was a horror writer.
Mm-hmm.
And I called my little world My Crumbling Abode. And being exactly not very creative at all, when I started to do this last podcast, I called it My Crumbling Audio because I said, you know what? I love three things in this world that aren't people. I love music, I love horror, and I love porn. Unapologetically, I'm going to talk about all of those three. Well, if you do anything, if you open your podcast app, there are a ton of horror podcasts. There are a ton of music podcasts. What you won't find is a ton, or what you didn't find back when I started, was a ton of adult podcasts. And what also ended up happening after about 12 to 20 episodes, I really found myself getting bored sort of reporting / discussing horror and music. But I was diving headlong into reading everything behind the scenes in the adult industry. And I was like, well, you know what? This is amazing. This is something that I can bring my perspective in as a lifelong fan. And little gross fact about me: the first adult thing I ever watched, I was 13. Definitely not 18 plus, but we enter the wrong year in this website, sort of thing.
Mm.
And I've been a fan, literally a fan, ever since. And I was like, this is actually getting really interesting. And I noticed when I made that switch, the numbers dipped a little bit as they do because people are expecting their horror content and their music content. But then they started going up quite well, and I'm like, okay, I'm onto something. And then I started reaching out, and I started getting responses, and people in the industry actually knew me, and they spoke of me. I'll never forget. They spoke of me favorably enough to say he's not creepy at all, which is a very important No, here's the thing. It's a very important qualifier amongst adult stars to have somebody who's on the outside, because at the time I was not in adult. I was a guy reporting on adult. To have that recognition to say he is not creepy distinguishes me from all the other people in their DMs trying to get interviews and being just gross and disgusting. That was
Mm-hmm.
never me. I always wanted to be professional. I always wanted to present factually, but in a positive light. So that was the news sort of portion. That's when it became casual sex with Crumb. But I realized that implied a hell of a lot about my personal life, which unfortunately, my wife's going to kill me when she hears this, is not true. I do not have a lot of casual sex. I have zero casual sex. So people were expecting it to be my forays into casual sex, which unfortunately it was not.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized I had Amberly Rothfield, who is an amazing marketing consultant, both in her vanilla life and also in their adult life. She, they were like, "Hey, um, people like you. You should interview people." And I'm like, "Yeah, who's gonna who?" And they were like, "Well, I have a PR agent. Email her." Okay. Well, wouldn't you know, she got back to me. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Holy crap! People actually know my name. People actually respect what I've done, for, like in this short little time." So I changed again into an interview show where I interviewed adult stars and new performers as well. There are names that you would definitely know, and there are names that you absolutely would not know. And my goal was uh, every month to do three names that you didn't know to give them a platform, and one name that you did know. So yeah, I basically interviewed porn stars and sex workers, all walks of life, all denominations, and yeah, it was a lot of fun.
What in the world were your messages like when you were doing that show?
Okay, 50% what you expect. I have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of tits in my DMs, and no, I did not delete them. But I'm lucky enough to say I have to this day, because I just won't delete them. It's a very big source of pride. Three of the top four PR agencies in my DMs. Number one, three, and four. Number two never returned my messages, but
Mm.
I hold no like nothing, no negativity. I get it. I'm literally nobody in that world, so I wasn't expecting. But to say that I have those, and it's all just scheduling. It everything in those messages is, hey, can you talk to so and so at this time? By the way, make sure they're on LA time and that you have to be on LA time. And blah 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 blah. But yes, for to give the salacious details, yes, I have a lot of tits and ass in my DMs. Absolutely.
Well, guess what, buddy?
What?
I also have a lot of tits and ass in my DMs, okay? How about that?
I believe it. You're the smoothest. You are the smoothest man I know. I would be surprised if it was anything less.
I didn't understand why. It's like well, I'm sitting there going, I tell funny stories on the other show about stuff that happened to me. It has nothing to do, for the most part, with that. And then I'm going, what is? I mean, I'm not complaining about it, but I was like, why are they? I mean, I'm not. Was like, okay, so
Yeah,
apparently I'm. Oh, you're. Ooh, okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It is a phenomenon, though, and I try to give people advice to not give stuff away for free. Um,
Mm,
Even as an interviewer, I was like, I'm going to interview you, and we're going to talk about your favorite food and movies and a little bit about the business, a little bit about your sex life. But I want people to get to know you so they can connect with you. Um, Everybody knows what your tits and ass look like. You definitely don't have to send it to me. It's appreciated. But
mm,
also on Twitter, if all you're doing is showing off on Twitter, who's gonna pay for it?
mm.
Nobody, because they can see it already. I got through to a couple people that way, and a couple people I didn't. The way life goes, I guess. People are going to run their business the way they want to run their business, and there's nothing you can do to change that.
It's an interesting thing when you talk to somebody that has any level of notoriety. Um, I've noticed from what I've when I've dealt with was a lot of people will. hit them with the obvious stuff and the obvious questions and the obvious topics, and you can hear in their voice they've answered this question 12 times this
Yep.
week. So I
Yep.
understand you're a boxer. What's it feel like to punch a guy in the face? Uh, well,
Yeah.
right? There's like, here we go. But
Yeah.
I'll get somebody on the show like that. I know that he's a boxer. I'm going, what? I said, what in the world were you doing carving a pineapple like that? Pineapple, yeah, I'm a pineapple. People don't realize that my grandmother invented pineapple carving, and blah, 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 blah. And they get excited.
And it's a much better story. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a much better story. I mean, obviously, when you're dealing with you're even with that boxer, you're
Mhm.
gonna ask one or two boxing questions. You have to, because it's sort of the bread and butter. But if you can intersperse that with actual personality type questions,
Mm-hmm.
I think the interview goes by better. You're more likely to get yes on a repeat interview,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the chemistry grows because you're not just sitting there being a robot like, oh, I read about this person on ESPN. I must ask them about this, this, and this that ESPN already reported on. Well, no, ask them, do some research. Now, the hardest part of interviewing porn stars, my friend, is the research. I did countless hours of painstaking, eye-watering research, let me tell you. It's just, it was disgusting how much research I was doing.
Mm-hmm. I was getting ready to say it was also disgusting touching your microphone after the research. Probably.
I was touching my microphone during. Oh wait, we're not talking about that. Oh,
I was
damn.
going to say, it's like, hey, this microphone is. What's this hole at the top of this microphone? Hey. But it's got to be definitely the same thing with them because, I guarantee if they do a bunch of interviews, I'm curious at what percentage of the interviews that they do where the person is taking a run at them for real. You know what I mean? Trying to get some action for real. Because the few people that I've met that were, I don't think I have met people in the adult industry, but and I've done comedy shows not recently, but back when I started at strip clubs, and
Sure.
every dude in the building is trying to take a run at these ladies. Every dude, and I'm sitting there and I'm just talking, and they're literally standing there naked in front of me. And I'm just saying, hey, so we're just having a regular conversation, and they're looking at me funny, like, you're not going to try to get some of, and I'm looking at them like, yes, I would like some of, but I'm not going to act like I like some of, because everybody else is acting like they want some of, and because I didn't try to get some of, they gave me lots of, because I was the only one that wasn't asking.
Absolutely, and that story right there goes back to why that part where I said they referred to me as not creepy at all is important. You build that rapport as like, no, this person is not going to try to get a freebie or become your suitcase pimp or anything like that. Was I flirty with some of my guests? Absolutely. I was just attractive human beings. Like I am a mere mortal. But did I still keep it reined in and obviously not do anything because I wouldn't? Also, yes.
And your wife trusts you.
Yes.
That's why you're not a dead man.
Yeah. Well, I classify myself as non-monogamous. But I fell absolutely head over stupid in love with my wife. And I told her this. I flat out told her, I said, look, I'm not really into the whole one chick sort of a thing. There's probably a little bisexuality in me, blah, 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 whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked it out. And she was like, I honestly do need monogamy. I can't be with, I don't want you with other people. I don't want to be with other people. So very early on, we made the choice. Like, this is going to be just us. As we grew together, you realize you can trust, the person you're with, of course. And she would see, the boobs in my inbox, and she would rate them. And she just didn't care, and she would be like, I would say, well, my favorite adult performer, my goal performers are so and so and so and so, and she'd be like, oh yeah, she's cute, totally, I could see that, yeah, 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 I get it, you have good taste in women, blah blah blah. So trust was literally never an issue, because we speak about everything. We are that annoying couple. If you remember How I Met Your Mother, we are Marshall and Lily, 100% hands down. So no, trust was never 100% an issue, never at all.
And that is a good place to be, my friend. Now,
Oh, absolutely.
we move off of casual and then we move
Sure.
on to the Versus show.
Oh man, the verse. That was an experiment that lasted 48 weeks. Let me tell you that. My wife, the reason you have not seen or heard anything from my wife in the digital realm is because she absolutely hates it. She hated it every single week that we did it. So it was a way for me to get her sort of out there. I thought she's a very shy person. So I was like, well, just do this show with me. We don't have to video it. It's just, us talking about our passions. And at the time, we were supporting a local wrestling company, which was awesome. Funny story is the ring announcer, when we sponsored the show, never got our show name right, not once. It was hilarious. So this match is presented by Crises Blut Show, and I'm like, no, it's not. Whatever, it's fine. They got it right on the DVD release.
It's like, Jesus, like, you do realize I'm supporting you, right?
Yeah, no. Honestly, he's such a good guy, and he also, like, the ring announcer at these small shows. The ring announcer is also the ring crew guy. He's also the guy setting up cables. It might also be his turn to pick up the international talent at the airport. So getting my name wrong, not the end of the world. They got it right on the DVD. That's all that matters.
Believe me, I've been there. I know what it's like to pack up the microphones, to drag the sound system out, to book the acts. Yeah. I've been that guy, So believe me, I know. So if you're listening, my brother, trust me, I know how you feel.
Oh, I used to promote burlesque and carny shows as well back in my youth.
Yeah, so there's so many moving parts.
So many moving parts, absolutely. So no worries there. But it was basically just a way to, like, I don't know, just shoot the shit with my wife and record it, because I was having trouble at that point creating content, like thinking of stuff to do. And it was an experiment that went 48 weeks. That's all I can say. It wasn't a great show, but it was fun to do. And
it was you did once a week, correct?
Yeah, give or take. I mean, when she wasn't feeling up to it, maybe we skipped a week. But yeah, once a week is about right.
Well, the thing I've noticed about people that get into podcast, even though there's like 1 million or whatever, 2 million or whatever podcasts, a lot of people don't realize that after the first 15 or 20 of them, it requires similar work to going to a job. First, hey everybody, let's talk about something with a microphone, and then episode 7, this is the greatest thing. Episode 12, nah, bro.
Yeah. And that's why when I saw you were coming out with 2, I was like, this man just likes work. What the hell?
The next
why
episode.
Why are you doing that to yourself?
Oh God, that's when I realized I like doing it. I realized I'm sitting there going, what the hell are you doing? You're booking interviews. You're doing solo episodes on that podcast. You're also doing solo episodes on this podcast. What are you, nuts? And then and I'm going to start doing stand up again, because when the pandemic, after I get my second Moderna shot, I can't wait to get you. Oh, did you get jammed in the arm?
I did not. I am a heart patient, so I am waiting until more research comes out. I absolutely will. Just to clarify for all the listeners, I absolutely will. I just have to be sure that what's going in my arm is not going to stop my heart. That's the only reason I have. I'm Canadian, and our distribution has sucked, so I'm not even
Hmm.
eligible yet. But I do have to wait a little bit until my cardiologist gives me the okay.
So
But
you,
yes, absolutely, I will.
but you, so these, you're definitely masked up when you go outside. Then.
Okay, S. This is real talk. I do
Hmm.
not go. I do not leave the house. I go
Hmm.
outside to my backyard, which I'm lucky enough to have. I
Hmm.
maybe go on the front porch when my wife asks me to join her for a smoke,
Hmm.
and maybe once a month I go for a walk around the block. Otherwise, I am confined to this house. I will not risk it. My wife, bless her, has taken on the role of literally everything this past year. It works out sort of harmoniously because right now I was able to keep my job during the pandemia, and she unfortunately was not.
Hmm.
So I get to, luckily enough, get to work from home, and she gets to run the home basically. Um, and
You're gonna, but
it's been very. Hmm?
I'm sorry. When things go back to normal, or quote, and by I'm gonna see. I always do. I do mine in audio. I don't do the video version. Uh, I'm doing the hand quotes
Yeah,
normal.
air quotes. Yep.
When things go back to normal, because what I'm seeing on the news is a lot of the people that are working from home are going, the hell am I going back into that office for? I'd rather do it from here. Now, when everything is
Well,
back to quote normal, more with the air quotes again, are you going to just go
sure.
screw that crap? I'm staying home and doing it from here.
The problem is that I work. My day job is in the finance industry, and for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, we are deemed essential. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine. I get it. So they've already moved people completely into the office, and then our numbers spiked. So now it's half in the office and half working from home on a rotating, like week on, week off sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they have said they are not giving up the building that we're in. We are going to have to return to the office, which between you and me is another reason I'm not in the hugest rush to get stuck in the arm because I love this.
Yeah.
I got podcasts, I got music, I got watching my friends stream. I have my PC, which is light years ahead of the crap they gave me at work, and I have this level of comfort and stability, and my work rate has not suffered. So I have satisfied everything to be a home worker according to them. So no, I will probably have to go in, but that is yet another small reason why I'm taking my time on the shot.
Yeah, because it's a weird thing because I see there are people that I know, some of my relatives, and they're going, and they have the option now, and they were given the option of staying home because it was
Oh,
all computer work in the beginning, and some of
that's
them,
beautiful.
he goes, one of them I talked to was a friend of mine. He goes, they told me that like you said, my work rate is exactly the same. Actually, it's maybe 10% more, because
Hmm.
of less distractions. Um,
Yep.
and they said I could actually stay home. And I said you're kind of getting a raise because you have a hell of a commute, to
Yep.
go to work. Less wear and tear on his vehicle. He doesn't have to buy gas. He lives in an area where the gas is really expensive, and so he's staying at the house. And I say I don't blame you. I was like, you see, it's not like you got young kids with your old ass, you know,
Yeah.
you know,
No.
and
And the
and
same thing.
yeah. Hmm.
I'm on a computer as well. Like I don't see why we can't. Now, apparently, allegedly, through the grapevine, I heard that you can apply to work from home permanently. I don't know what
Uh,
that entails, but I do have the vice president in my team's messages, so I'm going to actually send them a little note and see what that would entail because I feel like I need some of that.
I don't. I mean, I just don't blame anybody. I mean, I
No,
mean, obviously for my main gig, I have no choice,
right.
because to pay the bills, I have to stand on the stage in front of drunk people, and and tell them amusing stories for an hour. But you know,
But
but the thing about it is, somebody asked me. I said, look, they said that look, yo, S, when you start performing again, are you going to give up one of your podcasts? And I started laughing at him. I'm going, no. why, why
If
would I
I
do
know you, you're going to make another one about road stories.
pretty much. you know, or at the very least, as I'm sitting there, I was saying, I have if I turn to my left and on my I have my dry erase board, and I already
Yeah,
have subset series that are probably going to be on this one. Um, you know,
yeah,
there'll be some S. Anthony Thomas show colon blah 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 blah. Road stories,
yeah,
story time,
yeah,
this horror
exactly.
stories.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing because think about this for a minute. You're on Twitch now, okay? You keep
Hmm.
doing your thing, and all of a sudden, the tipping point happens, and now you have 250,000 people watching you play.
Hmm.
It changes things all of a sudden because you're not going to go, this these 250,000 people is kind of getting cutting into my job time, so I'm gonna have to give this up
Yeah,
and just concentrate on my work. Hell no,
yeah.
I want all of it.
Hell no. Yeah, exactly. And I know for you, you got into doing your passion as a gig, the stand up. So I know before pandemia, pulling out and performing for drunk people was like, you know, no big deal, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's what you want to do. It's what you're able to do. I don't want to sit at a desk. I mean, okay, technically yes. When I'm streaming, I'm sitting at a desk. That's I can't really, but like find your passion. I always tell this to everybody: find your passion and find a way to make it work for you. That's the
Mm-hmm.
absolute best. And I'll give you a little inside baseball on how Twitch works. You don't need 250,000 in order to become a Twitch partner. You know how many people you need in order to watching you regularly in order for Twitch to make you a business partner? The number will blow your mind. 75.
What?
You need 75 regular viewers for Twitch. There's a few other things, but the breakdown is 75 regular viewers. So if your average viewership over a 30-day period is 76, Twitch
Mm-hmm.
will start looking at you as a business partner. That's where the partnership comes in. This is and to everyone who knows Twitch, I'm not giving away any dirty secrets or anything like that. But for those who don't know, 75 is the magic number. I was able to
75.
start earning money on Twitch after I reached, well, the average viewership of 3. Again, there's a couple other things that go into it,
Mm-hmm.
but if 3 people are watching you continuously or, on the average for a period of 30 days, you get to earn money. That's just that it. How you choose to grow is completely up to you. Maybe the algorithm, because I'm not a hot tub streamer, but it's up to you as to how far you choose to take that.
That's the funny thing when you said a hot tub streamer. Even I mean, technically, I have a Twitch channel.
Hmm.
Technically, do I use it? Nope. But I
I
did.
get it.
I do know what a hot tub streamer is because I went on Twitch because I wanted to see some of you guys, see what you guys were doing, and I was getting, and I looked on. I'm going, there's a girl in the like tight pants bending over in front of the
Hmm.
camera on purpose, huh? What is the
Yep.
lady? Why is this
That.
lady jump? Why is this lady bouncing up and down in her chair in a bra? Huh? Huh? Why is this
Yeah.
lady in a tub?
Um,
What the hell is this?
which led me to my sort of wanting to try out Volume. It's a completely brand new platform. I'm not a shill for them or anything, but when I have to compete not only with my brothers and sisters at arms who play rocksmith and make music for everybody, which I love doing. It's competition, but it's healthy. We're all in the same Discord server.
Mm-hmm.
We all know each other, more or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's competition in the fact that we want eyes on us when we're streaming. But outside of that, there's, we've got a few bad apples, of course, but we kick them all out, and we're all in the one Discord server talking to each other.
Mm.
Um, but when this new platform emerged, I'm like, no, it's just music. Your talent is going to be showcased, and it's true. People who are shooting on an iPhone 3 with the worst, horrible sound quality you have ever heard, but they can play their instruments and sing very well. They're
Mm-hmm.
getting the views over there, and I was like, oh, all right, this may be something that I choose to try as well. So I went over and tried it. I'm still not 100% sold on either idea for me personally, but it's nice to know that on a music platform, my competition is music and not. Um,
I got bad news for you.
what's that?
I know a lady whose name is J.D. Blut, JAYDEEBLOOT, and
Oh
she's
yes,
going to
yeah,
now join. She's going to now join Volume, and she's going to do jumping jacks. Um,
yeah. As long as she doesn't to a beat.
that was one of the, because when you a little earlier we were talking about the adult movies. I just got a
Yep.
kick out. One of the things that used to crack me up, even though I've never actually seen porn and don't know what it is. Uh,
No, I
One of my
understand.
favorite things is when they would take a famous person's name and change it just so slightly.
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. So, have you ever done one of those "What's your porn name" generators? You see them
Uh,
on Facebook or whatever. No.
I probably have. Yeah, like with your dog's name plus your street's name
Yeah,
plus.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. So over the years, I have been what just most recently, like as of 2 days ago, I am Monster Hunter, which I have no idea what that means, but that's apparently the choice.
Mm-hmm.
I actually really like. Um, there was one, your middle name and the street you grew up on.
Mm-hmm.
And mine actually, it's either a smarmy lawyer in a terrible cop show or a porn star because that would be Derek Claypine.
Yeah,
And I'm
I
like,
don't.
okay, that's the,
I don't think Anthony Brown is going to be the most exciting porn name for me.
maybe not.
it's like, it's like,
uh,
and when I think about it, yeah, those things came out when they started doing those. Those were I never ever came up with one that was cool because the street I grew up on was Brown. It's literally Brown Street.
Brown
My middle
Street,
name
yeah.
is Anthony. My first dog's name, I forgot. I forgot what it was. What it was because it was such a long time ago. But it was just something like I don't know how it was. I don't even remember who named the dog, but it was some kind of boring ass name like Bill or something. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
no.
so no matter what happens, whatever the configuration is, it sucks. you know?
Oh man.
What's your porn name? Ice Cube Spoon.
Yes.
Nah, bro, you're fired.
Marshmallow cream puff. No, damn it.
Yeah, get out of line.
Yeah,
Escort him out of the
exactly.
building. So I got to ask you this, my friend.
Sure.
When it comes to Twitch, if it goes exactly the way, or volume, either one, because
Hmm.
obviously one is more. I mean, Twitch is the granddaddy, and volume is the new
It's
new kid
ubiquitous.
on the
Yeah,
block. So
absolutely.
so just say streaming, because let's be honest, if volume stays around, it has almost no choice but to begin to be a little bit more like Twitch. Um, that's usually just the way it is. It's nothing against them specifically, but that's where everyone is. It's like if there was another video streaming service that had a chance to compete with YouTube, it's going to become YouTube Junior. You know what I mean? There's just no way around it.
Yeah.
So we'll just lump them
Yeah.
both together, and I'll say
Sure.
Twitch, but obviously this also
Yep.
would apply to volume in the future.
Sure.
If it goes exactly the way you want, what
Hmm.
happens for you?
What happens for me?
What's it
I
look like?
do. What's it look like? Well, um, I'm making enough. So first things first, I'm entertaining to people.
Mm-hmm.
People want to come by. People want to see the show. I'm not the greatest guitarist in the world, and because of a couple of dumb injuries, I never will be.
Mm-hmm.
But I guarantee everybody a show. I only go for about 3 hours at a time, maybe 4 hours on a Friday night. Nothing crazy. But I am drenched in sweat by the end of it. You know that you've seen a show when you see my stream.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so people keep coming, more people keep coming, and say that partnership happens, then at that point, yeah, I have to look at the income level because again, I'm the sole provider right now, and
Mm-hmm.
that means I take care of three other people besides myself. Because my mom does live with us. She's older. She's 75, so we definitely moved her in because we
Mm-hmm.
were able to. Um, so as long as whatever income from whatever creative venture I'm doing or combination of ventures is enough to keep us, and I don't have any like huge dreams. I don't want a mansion or any of that crap. I really don't. It's enough to keep us comfortable and fed and clothed and things like my kid's going to need braces. So the benefits from work are actually pretty decent at this point. Uh, but
Mm-hmm.
as long as it maintains that, I don't need to be the biggest on the platform because I'm not going to be. There are actual professional musicians on both Twitch and on Volume who, number one, their fan base is massive. Number two, again, I'm never going to be as talented as they are. I'll put in as much work as I can, but it's just physically, literally physically not possible.
Mm-hmm.
So all goes well, then yes, I absolutely do quit my job. I am a fan of a higher minimum wage. I'm a fan of a minimum wage for those folks who don't have one. I'm a fan of a higher minimum wage because I think where I live it's too low. I'm a fan of a 4-day work week, and I'm a fan of not making work like your day job your entire reason for existing. So if somebody wants to, if I can find a comfortable way of living, playing guitar for people and putting on shows, absolutely sign me up. Hell yes.
Isn't it funny how after you pass 37, 38, 39 years old, the mansion doesn't mean anything anymore? You know what I mean? It's like, what do I need 15 rooms for?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. And I mean, I mentioned it earlier, but I literally was on food stamps and welfare for a while back
Mm-hmm.
in the day. So to come back, this is now 16 years removed from that. No, I'm sorry. Uh, yeah, 15, 16 years removed from that. I own my house. There's no mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So this is literally all I need. And I find homeownership sucks. I know that's a horrible thing to say for folks who don't have the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
but I have a crack in a window and I can't find the window guys. They literally just stopped answering calls. My house is shifting. My floor is like when I paid rent, I didn't have to worry about this.
Mm-hmm. And then all of a
So,
sudden,
but and then all of a sudden, yeah. So no, you're right though. After a certain point, um, personal comfort matters more than societal comfort, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't need
mm-hmm.
to show off. Like, would I love to buy every single guitar that I ever wanted? Absolutely. Even then, I think $100,000 covers it, which
Mm-hmm.
in the grand scheme of being like a celebrity is not a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, well, I remember my uncle when it was back when that Powerball lottery, the record one was like $1.5 billion,
Yes, yeah, yeah.
and I'm in a car driving with him, and he goes, I don't really need all that money, just give me like 2 million and I'm fine. And younger me, this is a long time ago. Younger me was looking at him like he was crazy, you know. But the thing is, what they say is basically after a certain income level, you don't get happier. It just stops at a certain point. You have a baseline, and no matter how much
Yep.
money you get, it goes right to that baseline whether it's 250,000, which is usually, I think that's the number where like right around 250,000. It's like you're not going to get happier with more money. If you get it, cool. If you invent a chocolate chip
Yep.
cookie that has the same effect on your body as a salad and it tastes like a chocolate chip cookie, let's be honest, you're going to be a billionaire in 3 years.
Of
Okay,
course. Of course.
but
Also, sign me up.
yeah, I was going to say, sign me up. I got a box right here. I just dump it, fill it up, and give me some milk to dip it in. Hopefully, the milk is healthy too. And but if you get the yacht, because I've seen guys that I knew, I didn't even realize how much money that they had when I was living in Hollywood. It was like some guy who produced some kind of award show, some crap, and we're sitting in his house, and we're walking through the garage to my regular car, and he had these double, quadruple Mercedes and quadruple Bentleys and all this crap sitting there. And to him, it was really not a big deal. The Bentley was just a car he went to the supermarket in. You know, the big house was just he had was just a bunch of rooms that, that the bed was made by his maid or whatever, and no one slept in them. But he just wanted the big house, and he realized that who cares? It's like no matter what it is, now it's just his house, and now the Bentley's just
Yep.
his car. And now my cheap ass car was like, damn, I wish I had that Bentley, but that's a different story.
They are nice cars. I mean, but
I'm driving a
at a
damn
certain
Camry,
point-
that bastard.
I was a Corolla guy myself.
Oh yeah, those things never fall apart. I mean, just those things just
Oh, no.
won't break. And I take good care of the vehicles, but I've seen people that just don't give a damn, and the car still lasts 350,000 miles before they dump it.
Yep,
They just won't
that was
stop.
my Corolla. It had some sort of a weird malfunction. We finally had to get rid of it, but we had that bad boy for like 15 years.
Yeah, if you buy a Toyota right now, you're going to be giving that to your daughter's kid.
Probably.
you know.
Yeah, probably.
Now, before we go, I gotta ask you, my friend,
Sure.
are you? Well, I don't. You probably don't have time for it because when you were doing the podcast, you weren't streaming with the guitar. I guess the guitar that's your creative outlet now. I mean, are you going to do another podcast? Or are you going to jump back into that
no.
world?
The reality is, no.
Yeah.
I used to when I left. You may or may not have known this. I was part of a network called the Sun Buddies. It was literally just a bunch of wrestling buddies who all had their own podcasts, and I'm still great friends with everybody. We just dissolved the network because everybody has gone their own way.
Mm-hmm.
But it used to be like, oh, you'll be back. I finished my last show, aired in March. And then, April, hey, when are you coming back? May, when are you coming back? It took till about September for people to stop asking me regularly. Because I don't have a passion for it anymore. I have music that I want to create. So if I'm going to be in front of a microphone, it's not going to be talking anymore, unless I'm streaming. It's going to be me, like, I really want to learn how to sing. First thing I did in music before I could play a scale is I was in a band, and because I was the best singer, I was the singer. That was not a good look and not the correct call, but I was. So I sang, got paid for it even because we did gigs without actually knowing how to sing.
Well, that
So
applies to a lot of people.
Well, yes. Yeah, no, and yes, agreed. But, it's just how bass-ackwards my life has been and my musical journey. So I just don't see me having the time to create a show, and I don't really see what interest I would have that would convey itself well in the audio format. That was actually the reason I left. I was doing an audio podcast with porn stars.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting terrible listenership, but I was on Pornhub where I uploaded the videos, and I was on YouTube where I uploaded the videos. Obviously, we were all clothed, and Pornhub doesn't even allow you to upload moving pictures without getting a performer consent form. And I'm not asking all my guests their real name. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not happening. So I got in with Pornhub support, and I was like, hey, if I just use a still image, but it's audio only, They're like, you're fine. You don't need the thing. Okay, cool. I was doing gangbusters, thousands of views, but nobody was listening to the actual podcast show.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess whatever I create is more in a visual format. That seems to be what works for me. So doing an audio only show is probably not worth my time at this point.
Yeah, because I noticed that when people, I think everybody needs to have some kind of creative something that they do, and when you find the one that's right for you, you just dive into it and then f everything else. You know what I mean? You know,
You are 100% right. Yeah,
and
and
that's
I was
yeah.
literally hating doing the show. Again, not because of the people. I loved all of my guests, and I loved working with everybody who I got to work with behind the scenes. But doing the scheduling, staying up till midnight because I got to be on LA time when I'm on the East Coast, doing doing the editing. I hate editing so much. I'll do song programming and like all day. I hate editing so much, even for my YouTube videos. That's why I've decided to make them shorter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, so just yeah. And I remember the last interview I aired. I knew it was going to be the last one because it was so seamless.
Mm-hmm.
Like we laughed like we were old friends, and I had only met her the week before, and it was just fantastic. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, literally nothing is going to top this. Nothing I do, no matter if I didn't end up getting my goal guests,
Mm-hmm.
but even if I did, I don't know that I would have topped that. So I was like, you know what, I'm creatively satisfied if I end right here, and I made the decision like a week later to just not go back.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely will stick to that because I've found like I have calluses on my fretting hand,
Mm-hmm.
and I absolutely love the feeling. And it must look really weird to observers, but I'll sit there and run my thumb over the calluses of my fingers. I'm actually doing it right now, and I'm like, this is earned.
Mm-hmm.
This is absolutely earned, and this shows that I'm working towards something. And that to me gives me a great level of satisfaction when I get people in stream, well played, even if maybe I messed up a few too many notes. If I get people like, hey man, you played my request, thank you so much. There's not much that beats that feeling. Even if podcast reviews are fantastic. I know how important they are to get the show up the charts and into more people's ears, but they just never hit quite the same as that live reaction for me.
Yes, and as you know, I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about. It's like,
Yes. Yeah.
talking,
You
thousands of people listening to you talking to a microphone a week after you did it is not the same as the same number of people sitting right in front of
yeah.
you. You look, you can see their faces, they're clapping, they hug you after the
Yeah.
show. It's just a
Yeah.
whole different thing, man. Nothing beats
Absolutely. It is.
immediate interaction.
And
Ironically, people are going to hear this like 2 weeks from now, but
well, that's okay. The point still stands.
so those of you approximately 2 weeks from now, thanks.
Yes, we appreciate. Go leave us a really good review on both of his shows. It means the world to podcasters. It really does.
Yes, damn it. Yeah. Support streamers. Go see JD, damn it. Get it done. Now,
Thank
tell
you.
before we go, man, I just want to say, man, thank you for coming on. This was a straight up blast, my friend.
Oh man, thank you so very much for inviting me on. This was just the most fun I've had in a good long while, and I really appreciate it, my friend. Thank you so very much.
Okay, and I'm also gonna send some pics of my ass, just to.
You know what? Confidentiality, man. I mean, this is your show. You do what you want. I may leave you unread for a couple weeks, but
Man, I really appreciate talking to you, my brother. Thank you for coming on, man. And we will continue to harass each other online like normal.
oh, Abs, you're an old bastard, and you know it.
I look forward to torching you online like tomorrow as I spend all night editing this. All right,
Oh,
take
dear.
care, my brother. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
take
Abs.
care. Yeah, bye bye.
Bye.
told you that was going to be fun, didn't I? Uh-huh. You're going to believe me from now on, aren't you? Much love to you. I appreciate you listening. See you next time. Take care.